Good morning, everybody. My name is Jo with Jo Wise Leadership, and I'm just going to do a couple of admin things while Facebook goes and collects up an audience. I'll just share with a couple of my other groups. Alright, we've got people starting to come on. I'm just sharing with my other page. Sorry, it's a little slow, so it won't be a moment. Here we go. Alright, fantastic. So hi, welcome to Facebook Live today. This week it's International Women's Day on Wednesday, actually. We're going to be celebrating International Women's Day all week here with Jo Wise Leadership. And particularly on our Facebook Lives this week. So I thought it would be interesting because International Women's Day is all about empowering women to empower nations. Depending on which website you go onto, there's lots and lots of different definitions and interpretations. It's about celebrating women in all capacities, of social and financial and all parts of areas of our lives. And the theme for this year is being bold for change. And so when I've been thinking about this a little bit, there's a lot of events on, there's lots happening this week for International Women's Day. But I've been thinking about this being bold for change. And I think it's a great theme this year because there seems to be a lot of people wanting to create change at the moment. So it kind of backs up what it is that we're already doing, and I think gives us a little power and momentum in sort of towards the beginning of the year, which is great. So for the next 5 days on Facebook Lives, we're going to be looking at how we can be bold and create the changes that we want in our lives, whether that's the areas that we lead, love, live, whatever area of your life you want to. Because I believe that when we're creating the changes that we want to in our lives and empowering ourselves, then that gives us the ability to be able to do that on a larger scale with other people as well. So I think it all starts, I'd always believe that it all starts with us first, and then everything filters out. So I think it's so for this week we're going to be focusing on a step every day to help you create bold action in whichever area of your life or work that you're wanting to. But it's interesting because to want to create change, we should be in a position where we want to create change, in whatever area it is that we want to change, there needs to be something worthy of changing. So there needs to be, good morning Jane, nice to see you. There needs to be something that we feel strongly needs to change. It needs to be something that we're unhappy about. There needs to be something that we think would be better if we improved it. But there has to be something, if we're going to create change, there's got to be something worthy of change. And for some people that's going to be an absolute total, reconstruction of a lot of stuff. For others, it might just, it might be come in a different form with tweaking a few things. It could be things that you see around you that you're unhappy with, that you're wanting to create change, maybe speaking up, changing the way you do things. So it could be whatever you want. But if you're going to create some change in your life, you kind of need to have something that you want to change. There's not much point in changing for change's sake. I know I've worked for many organizations in the past that have been, I think the bosses just sit there sometimes and have said, we want to create change because we're a bit bored, so let's do that. And everyone gets pretty tired and sick and tired of that. So I think let's find something that we want worthy of change. And then that gives us the momentum to be able to move forward and actually create the change. And I know with the circle of women that I'm working with at the moment with coaching, the change that they're creating, one of the women that I'm working with is really wanting to create this really meaty feminist movement. She's not seeing the strength and depth in the movements that she is surrounding herself, the people she's surrounding herself with. So she's wanting to create that a bit more herself, which is fantastic. Good morning, Emma. Nice to see you. For somebody else, you know, one of my other clients, she's worked in the same industry for 20 years, but after we did one of our workshops together last year, which is what we do as a part of our 6-month coaching program, she walked away and realized that she'd been putting up with some things in her workplace for 20 years and her industry for 20 years that was unacceptable. And she started to notice how those things that she'd been putting up with for 20 years were starting to play out with the younger generation of women now. And so she's decided that what she's going to change is she's going to be stepping up, and she's not going to allow that to continue anymore. And obviously that's creating, you know, ruffling a couple of feathers at work, and she's really stepping in there and supporting supporting that younger generation so that they can feel that they can create the change as well. Another one of my clients is looking at changing industry. She's been working in very corporate environments for her whole career, and for her it's time to step out and, in her words, do something that really counts. So she's going to be working in some areas that are really important to her. So all of these women that I'm working with at the moment have all made a very clear decision that there's something happening in their lives or around them they no longer will put up with. And so then they're going out there and they're creating the change. They're taking the steps to transform what it is that's currently going on into something else that they see as better for them and for those around them. Now for you, it might be, you know, something as big as all of those things. It could be creating a new movement. It might simply be creating some changes of things that are sucking your energy at the moment, that it's time for you to create change around. Maybe creating some boundaries, maybe speaking up, maybe, you know, there's a whole bunch of things that it could be for you. But it doesn't need to be, you know, if you are wanting to empower yourself and empower the nation, which is what, you know, International Women's Day is all about, it doesn't need to be all the big glossy stuff that we see a lot of the time. I believe that, you know, the very important change can happen just one step at a time inside of us. One step at a time. Sometimes other people may not even notice it or see it to begin with, but it's whatever we see the changes we need. When we start taking steps towards that, that's when we start to become empowered, and we can empower others more often as well. So what today's Facebook Live is about is it's about getting clear on what it is that you want. I mean, I know that it sounds pretty simple, and it is actually when you sit down and spend the time to do it, but we've decided that we need to make a change for whatever reason in whatever area of our life, and then it's time to actually get clear on what that change is that we want to create. Because one of the interesting things that I see a lot, and I find this very interesting having my own child as well, but is when we get to an age of, you know, I'm in my mid-40s now, we've been told for so long, particularly when we're children, that we can't have what it is that we want. You know, money doesn't grow on trees. You can't have everything that you want. Are you cold? And they say no, and you go, well, put on a jumper. So we're constantly teaching our children, traditionally, that to not listen to themselves, to not have the things that they want. And so move forward to being in our 40s or whatever age you're in. Sometimes we think that, you know, we want these fabulous things in our lives. We want to create a change, but maybe we feel we're not deserving of it, or maybe we think that we don't, you know, it's just one of those things that, why should I have everything I want? Because maybe we've always been told that we, you know, we can't have everything that we want. So when we're thinking about creating change and getting clear on what we want, I really think that the first step is pulling back on that a little bit and giving yourself permission to allow yourself to dream about what it is you want, or give yourself permission to allow yourself to even ask yourself honestly those questions of what you want. You know, what are the things that you want to create? And yes, of course you are deserving of it. And yes, of course you're the person that can have everything that you want in some form or another. So it's sort of time to flip those childhood structures on their heads and allow ourselves give ourselves permission that we can have, the things that we want. If we want to create a change, then that is within our power for us to be able to do that. So allowing ourselves to be bold enough to even want things to be different, for us to not put up with things that we've put up with in the past. So I think the first step within getting clear on what you want sometimes isn't really about what you want at all. It's stepping back from that and just giving yourself permission to even go into that space, to allow yourself to think about it. I worked with a woman many, many years ago, and I remember, we talked about a lot about what is it that you really want? What is it that you really want? And she'd spent so many years being a mother, and really dedicating her life to her children and to her partner. And, her kids were teenagers by this stage. And, I remember her saying that, we talked about it week after week. And then eventually she woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning and she was like, I want tomatoes. And I always laugh about it because it's such a funny little thing to say, but it had taken her weeks and weeks, and the thing that she came up with she wanted was tomatoes. So she went downstairs and gave herself some tomatoes. And then that was sort of the breakthrough for her to really start giving herself permission to have more things in her life that she wanted. And now she's created a business for herself and she's doing really, really well. But it all started with tomatoes. It all started with, opening up and allowing herself and giving herself permission to even think about, even dream about the things that she wanted. So getting clear on what you want starts with giving yourself permission. And then the second thing I think it's about is getting really clear on where you are now. What's actually really going on? Because I know a lot of women and a lot of people in the space where, I've even heard somebody in the last week say, well, everybody around me is pretty unhappy with where they are, so why should I want more for me? And I'm like, well, because you're amazing, and it's important to have the things that you want in your life. Hi, Nancy, nice to see you. So of course it's okay for us to want those things. And I don't think that putting up with things and being unhappy is really okay. You're certainly not empowering yourself or empowering the nation when you're doing that, when you're just putting up with things. So the first one, giving yourself permission. Second one is getting clear where you are and really honestly telling yourself the truth. Not telling, not hiding and playing tricks on yourself about, everything's fine, but, everything's really fine, but deep down that it's not. If there's something going on that you're unhappy with, and whether it's something mammoth, like something in a relationship or in a career that seems really mammoth, or it might be something that you think is quite small, but can still have a huge impact. All of these things count wherever they are for you. So get really clear on where you are now, because it's from that foundation, and be really honest with yourself about it, because it's from that foundation that you're able to get clear on where it is that you want to go. And then the third step, of course, giving yourself permission, getting clear on where you are now, and then getting clear on where you want to be. What is it, this thing that you want? What is the change that you want to create? Is it an equal workplace? Nice to see you, Nancy. Thank you for your nice words. Is it, whatever it is for you that you're wanting to create, really get clear on that. Now, people have said to me when I started out in leadership many, many years ago about, getting clear on what you want. And I always found it sort of a little bit of a funny question, because it seems in all of the books that people just sit down for 5 minutes and they get absolute clarity around, what is this life or career or, relationship or whatever it is that they're wanting to create. Whereas for me, it seems to take a little bit longer. So if it doesn't come all at once in a 33-second batch of time, then allow yourself to revisit it time and time again. I'm working through some things at the moment with my business, and I'm just asking myself the same set of questions every single day for a couple of weeks. And the first day, I got some great information. The second, I got some more, and I'm building on it every single day. So not always are we going to get absolute clarity on the change that we want to create all in one sitting. But I do encourage you to sit down and spend a little bit of time with it. Allow yourself some space. Maybe sit down with a nice cup of tea, on the couch, coloured pencils, light a candle, whatever you need to do to allow yourself the space to really get clear on what it is that you want. and then allow yourself to see it. So create it in your mind. Ask yourself questions about how it would feel when I have this thing. Ask it, what would you see? Get really clear on the colors, the room, or the way the conversation will play out, and really visualize it really, really strongly. And then also go into your audio as well and get clear on what you will hear. So whenever we're creating a picture around something, if we get clear on what we call our KAV, our kinesthetic, how it would feel, our audio, the auditory, how it would sound, and our visuals on that, then that builds a really stronger momentum for what it is that we're creating. And visualizations are such a highly underutilized success tool, absolutely massively underutilized. There's a lot of sayings out there that you see on Facebook, if you see it, you can create it. Well, that does help. But there's a lot of stories that, or a lot of research that was done many years ago where they did some studies around with Olympic athletes. And they divided these athletes into two groups. One group actually did training every single day, and the other group just did visualizations about their training and about winning and about being successful in what it is that they were doing. And at the end, after a couple of weeks, when they did the testing, the difference between the two was so minute. And it really confirmed to them during this study that when we're visualizing things really, really clearly, it is so, so powerful. In fact, it's almost as powerful as doing the real thing. Now, I'm not saying that you just need to go home and just create everything in your mind and then not take any action. Of course, the action's important. We need to get ourselves out there. But to start with, get really clear on what it is that you want. And then we have all that momentum from our imagination, from our visualizations that will be supporting us from behind. Our unconscious mind will be on board. Our reticular activation system, this part of our brain, which is like an internal GPS, will be supporting us, and we'll have all of our internal resources locked in for us to be able to move forward to create this change. And then when you do take the action, when you do take the steps, then that will all be supported even more from inside of you. So that's all that I really have to share today. So today I wanted to start with getting clear on what you want. Really allow yourself permission to have what it is that you want, to even think about creating something that's different to now if what's happening right now in whatever area of what you want is not what you want. I mean, even something really little is when I first set up in this office a couple of months ago, there was a few things that were really little frustrating, annoying things for me. And for a couple of days, I just put up with those things. Now, when I say I just put up with them, I didn't take steps to change it. And what it was specifically was all of my cords for my computer, for my phone plugins, for my printer and all of those things. Every single time I'd go to use them, they would flip down the back of my desk. I have to get down on my desk, climb under my desk, try and navigate putting them up, and then plug them all in. And it only lasted for a few days, but it was really, really annoying me. And it was just that little thing that would just piss me off every single day. And so I thought about it one day and I thought, okay, stop. What is it that I can do to prevent this? Because I'm just putting up with this annoyance right now. And I'm not even just putting up with it. It's actually eating away. And it's that little thing that's, it's enough sometimes to flip your mood into where you don't want it to be. It's taking time out of my day, all of those little things. So I had a look at it, decided what I was going to do, set up some blue tack with the cords on it, and now, it took me actually a shorter amount of time to fix the problem than what it was taking me every single day to deal with the problem, not even to mention the emotional strain that this was putting on me every single morning when I got to work. So it might be something, I would say that's a little thing, but it was just causing me enough annoyance every single day. But it was only when I actually stopped and gave myself permission, you know what, you don't have to put up with this. If you're putting up with it, Joe, you're choosing to put up with it. You're choosing this annoyance. You are choosing to accept this frustration every single day. And when I thought about it like that, I'm like, whoa, I'm not going to do that. Why wouldn't I just fix the problem? So I got clear on what I wanted. Okay, what's it going to do? Okay, this is how I want it to work. This is what the outcome is that I want. and I simply changed it. Now, a tiny little thing, but it means now that I can start my day in a much better way. And it's one less thing that I need to think about every single day. So, you know, it might be something little, it might be something massive, like some of my clients and the things they've got going on at the moment, where they're choosing more meaningful work or choosing to create a movement. So just decide what it is for you. So today has all been about getting clear on what you want, giving yourself permission to have something different from what it is if what's going on right now is not working for you. Secondly is getting clear on what's really going on right now. What is the problem, or what is the issue, or what's going on right now that is you don't feel fantastic about. And third, get really, really clear on what you want. And as I said, KAV it. So think about your feelings around this thing and what it is that you want to create. And when you get there, how would that feel? You know, what are the things that you'd be saying to yourself, the audio? You know, what would other people be saying? How would your tone be? How would you be speaking? And then the V, the visual, get really, really clear on what it is that you would be seeing. Bright colors, what are the colors? You know, what's the intensity of what it is that you're looking at? And just get really clear and build that picture up as much as you can. And allow yourself the space and the time to do this a bit. You know, give yourself a bit of time. It might only be, 10, 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, an hour. You can choose what that time is. But allow yourself to go and revisit. Get really clear on what it is that you want. And then all the internal resources will be there to support you to create the change you want to create. So thank you very much for sharing today, or to being on the call today. We've got some nice comments. Nancy, you're so right. We have the right tools for what we want inside ourselves. We really do. Sometimes it's just remembering to reconnect with them. And I know that's a lot of the work that I do, with my clients and with myself, is just reconnecting to the resources we've got. Because you know what? We're pretty damn smart, all of us lot. So have a fabulous day. Tomorrow we'll be on Facebook Live, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about inequalities, and how that will support us on our journey to create change. So get out there, be bold, and create change, and I look forward to seeing you soon. If you've got any questions, please ask. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow on Facebook Live. Just if you want to go on over to Facebook and like our business page on Jo Wise Leadership, we've got a lot of extra bonuses and things going up there this week as well. So have a great day, and I'll see you soon.